is it still worth buying this Sony a6000? And I'm comparing it to my current camera, which is this Canon 90D. But is it still worth buying the Sony a6000 even though there's a ton more cameras out there compared to the Sony FX3 and the Sony A1? Of course, they're huge different cameras compared to this smaller camera here. This starts at $648 from B&H. The other two start, I think, about $3,000 and up. So of course there's a huge price difference. The question is, when you're buying cameras and when you're buying an older camera that came out almost 5 years ago, is it still worth buying now in 2021? Well, let's find out. Alright, so the huge difference between Canon 90D and the Sony a6000, of course, it's huge different body types. So you got this smaller design, compact. This is how it looks when it's turned off. So the lens comes right into the body there. And the Canon, obviously, you could change the lenses depending on which one you have on. That's how big this camera is right now. But compared to, obviously, huge size difference. This is a smaller, compact size. You could just almost fit it in your jacket, like in your jacket pocket. So super lightweight, very small. So that's pretty much it compared to this guy. It's super light. This is a little bit more heavier. Actually, they made the Canon 90D slightly lighter compared to the other ones, I feel like. So just depending on which one you're actually looking for, I feel like portability wise and tiny size, this will be your best bet. I took a photo straight on right in front of me. I did not change any settings. I just put them in their normal, like, automatic mode. Automatic. So I haven't changed the ISO, I haven't changed the f-stop or anything. It's purely automatic on both cameras, on the Canon 90D and the Sony a6000. And I'll show them here, comparison, which one is which. So far, the Sony a6000 is doing pretty good. I haven't used this in a very long time, and it takes great photos. It takes rapid photos, so you don't really have to wait for it to process a lot, depending on how much, what the data you're shooting in, really. I actually took a ton of photos of this train passing through. I hope they came out great. I just did like a rapid fire test, and I had to switch between my Canon 90D as well when it was actually leaving that way. And it was a perfect timing, honestly, to test out the Sony a6000. But I want to show you a comparison of the video footage, of the video of these two cameras, the Sony a6000 and the Canon 90D. But I just found out right now with the Sony a6000, you can't film in XAVCS format. You do have to go down to at least MP4 video format for it to work. So I want to switch over to this guy here. As you can see, I switched over. This is what I'm using right now to make this video happen. I'm gonna turn that off. And so this is the video you get out of the Sony a6000 1080p at 60 frames per second. So it's a pretty good camera here. It's not bad. I really do enjoy having a smaller camera because I don't have to carry this big bulky camera with me all the time. So I can just take this out and I can flip around and show my face. But even if you're going to use this for vlogging, it's not really good because there's not really a flip out screen, so I can't really see myself that much on this camera. But this is the quality you get out of it. Super lightweight. It doesn't even hurt my arm just holding it. Like I said, I can't really see myself without the flip out display. But and then this is the audio you also get from this camera. It's not the best, I would say, in my opinion, compared to the Canon 90D, which will flip over to it now. So this is the video footage of the Canon 90D shot in 1080p, 60 frames per second, and a huge difference for sure. Obviously this camera is a little more heavier, so I do have to hold it underneath the lens. Sometimes on the grip on the side of the camera, but it's a little bit heavier. So if you're gonna be vlogging on this camera, it's gonna start hurting your hand in a minute or so. But as I could tell, obviously I have the flip out display, so I can see where I am right now. And it actually has face tracking right now. So in automatic mode, it has face tracking. And not doing that well with the sun right now. But, well, actually underneath the sun quite a bit. But it's not doing that well with the adjusting the lighting. So that's why I normally do it in manual mode if I'm recording myself. But this is the audio as well, coming from the Canon 90D. And so far so good. I think I've used it many times without an actual mic on it. And I've had to adjust the audio. But this is what it looks like. Alright, so comparing both Sony and Canon. Of course, there's a huge difference between both. The body type. You got the small, lightweight body camera. You got the big guy, the DSLR camera. And the neat thing about both is that you could change the lenses as well. So you don't have to keep the same lens that come with the camera. The Sony a6000 comes with a normal 16 to 50 millimeter lens, and the Canon 90D comes with an 18 to 55 millimeter lens. But you can always exchange the lenses, so you can always put a different one on. And going around my area here, walking around with it, obviously the Canon 90D is a little more heavier, so you're going to feel the weight of it. Walking around with the Sony camera, it's super lightweight. I didn't have a strap on it. I just had to hold it in my hand the whole entire time, and I didn't even notice that it was there in my hand. And so I had to just hold it pretty much normally. And in my opinion, the Sony a6000 is a great camera. It's a little bit more pricier. I mean, compared to the other ones, it's cheap. The Sony FX3, I believe, was $3,000, and the Sony A1 was about $6,000 or so, just for the body. For the Sony a6000, you get the camera, the lens for $648 on B&H. So it's a great price point, I would say. There's a few other cameras out there that are around that price point, and they're way better than the Sony a6000. Higher megapixels for sure. Like I said, this Sony has a 24.3 megapixel sensor. It's a great camera still. Like, you still could do great video, a great photo. You won't be able to vlog that well because the screen doesn't flip out. It kind of folds like this. So that's the only adjust you could do to the screen itself. So it's not really that helpful if you're vlogging. You're gonna try to keep yourself in frame. I don't know how I did when I was filming myself with the Sony a6000. Hopefully I was in frame, but obviously the Canon 90D has the flip out display. And it's so hard to film downtown because there's so much cars passing by, and there's a bird just yapping away. With all the photos and the video, I would say if you're looking to buy a camera, now you're quiet when I stop, and when I talk, he's laughing at me. Can you be quiet for a second? I'm trying to do a video. Nope. You see? He flew away now. It's right there. Right there. He's gone. So at the end of the day, depending on what you're looking for in a camera, if you're looking for a small, lightweight camera, just to snap some photos very quickly, you don't have to really get into the settings if you don't want to. The Sony a6000 is a great small camera to take with you on the go for a trip across the country with your family, take just family photos for fun. Or if you want to get more into the professional side, the Canon 90D DSLR camera is a great camera for anyone that wants to get into more professional work, and also maybe just play around with it, you know, or make videos and do vlogging. Right now, I'm not recording with the Canon 90D. Everything on this video is shot on the iPhone 11 Pro Max, so it's kind of different right now. Sorry, don't want to miss the train. There's the train. Alright, so my final review of both the Canon, the Sony a6000 and the Canon 90D is that obviously there's a huge comparison to both. Lightweight, heavyweight, small, big. You could exchange the lenses. You could get different lenses to put them on. But depending on what you're looking for, both cameras are great. This shoots at 24 megapixels. This is a 33 megapixel camera, 4K at 60 frames per second, 1080p at 60 frames per second, and you can do 1080p at 60 frames per second. It just really depends on what you're wanting to use both of them for. So if you're just starting out with a camera, getting into the camera space, I recommend this guy here. It's very small, lightweight, easy to use. It's very compact. The battery lasts you about a whole entire day. It just really depends on how much you're using it, how much you're recording your video, or even taking photos. It should last you a whole day. Doing video, maybe about 3 hours or so. So I recommend getting multiple batteries for this guy. This guy does last you quite a bit as well. The batteries are way bigger for this guy, so I would say about 4 hours or so recording at 4K at 60 frames per second. I also recommend getting more batteries for the Canon 90D, but it just really depends on what you're looking for in a camera. But they're both great cameras. Obviously, the huge difference. I'm a Canon person myself. I haven't used Sony as much, but I do like Canon because the Canon has a great color gradient, I guess, kind of like use out of it. It gets more color out of your photo and your video. Sony doesn't. Sony has great video quality, in my opinion, but it doesn't have great color quality, in my opinion. So I prefer Canon over Sony, and they're great cameras, honestly, and there's a huge difference between both. It just really depends on what you're going to use it for. So this is just a quick review of the Sony a6000 and the Canon 90D. Obviously, there's a huge difference between both of them. Size-wise, megapixels, video quality, photo quality, and it just really depends on what you're looking for in a camera. But they're both great cameras. I'll link them down below if you want to go more in depth into the camera itself. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe.